Hello and welcome. Today we are going to talk about how this works. This is the fleets and the task forces. We are going to talk about the orders, the missions that the fleets and task forces can have, and we are going to talk about the fleets themselves and the stances. And if you enjoy this kind of content, you can leave your own question down below. And to help the channel, you can like and subscribe. It's completely free. You can enable notifications to receive notifications in the bell. And also you can join and donate 75 cents if you feel like. Thanks. So let's start by the organization. First of all, at the top, you have the theater name. The theater is just a logical organization. You can rename it and put a name like Atlantic Fleet. And down here, you can use the theater, Pacific Theater, and here Atlantic Theater. In the top, you're going to see all your fleets. Each of these is one fleet. The fleets can have one and only one admiral. You can choose it here, and you pick from the list. So each click and you have admirals, and the admirals have managed one fleet, and each fleet can have one or more task forces. These are the task forces. You can change in the icon. Usually you use a submarine icon for submarines, of course, but you can use whatever you want. It's recommended that when you start the game, you gather all the units because they are kind of dispersed, and you can do that the following way. You can click one and right click on the top. You click one, right click on the top, and now if you click this task force, you're going to be seeing up here that two other ships or group of ships are coming into this way. Another way to group the units is to drag a rectangle, and you're going to be selecting lots of task forces, and then you right click on one of them and keep piling them up. And now we have just one fleet with just one task force, and you have them all here. Now we are going to unpause, and they are going to come to the same place. All the ships, only one, and there we have. If you right click any of the ships, you're going to see where are they located. So they are located, all of the Italian ships, in that port. Now that we have the one single fleet with all the ships, it's a good idea to put all the submarines into a separate fleet with an admiral specialized in submarine warfare. So you can do that by double clicking one ship, and now you press shift and double click this one, and you're going to select all the ships from the same type. Not only submarines model 1, and you have to be the same exact chassis. So now we are going to press right click up here, not here, because if you click here, they are going to go to the reserve. You press them up here, and you press, there. Now we have a separate fleet, and now you click, a new task force. We have one fleet with two task force, and you click this task force, and you're going to click up here with your right button. This means that you want to create a new fleet, and the new fleet can have a new commander. So we are going to select a submarine expert. It's not an expert, but let's use this admiral as commander of the submarines. And now we are going to put another one for the ships. So now we want to split again this fleet, and we want to make a recon fleet. The recon fleet is going to patrol, and for that we want just 3 destroyers, or maybe we want a very small force for patrolling the area and detecting submarines. So you right click there, and you have the new small fleet new small task force, and then we click the main task force, and we can do another group, 1, 2, 3, and we right click there, and we have another task force. So we click the first one again, and you can see the numbers of units of each type, and you can see that we still have 2 submarines. So we are going to go down, and we are going to select them both, and 1, 2, and we are going to pass these 2 submarines to the submarine group that is down here. This is how it works. It's super easy to manage the fleets and task forces. Another easy way to split, for example, the submarine, is a good idea to use as small as you can the groups of submarines. The wolf pack is a very bad idea because they can detect all your submarines in a single combat and sink them all, and if they are split, they are harder to detect. You can press this button, and now we have 2 groups, 4 task forces, and 8 flight forces, and the max number of task forces that a fleet can have is about 10. So 8 is a nice number, and you can send them in patrol whatever you want. But there is an important trick. Each fleet has an area of influence and a commander. So not only the commander is the property of the fleet, but also the area of influence. For example, if you select this task force and you give this group of submarines the order of hunting convoys, you click there with your left button, and you right click here. The submarine will go there and start patrolling there. But let's say that you want this group to do the same here, and you try to do the following. Click there, and you click here, and you will notice that down here you will see that there is one group there. I use another type of mission. I'm going to use the mission Sunk Convoys, and you see that you have two groups working here and two groups working there. Why is that? Because the area of influence belongs to the whole fleet. So it doesn't matter now if we select this ship and we press mine laying or patrol, they are going to work in these areas that are already selected. So to select a new area, you right click, and to unselect, you shift right click. So we have two working here in the type of missions and one task force with this other type of mission working here. So, for example, if you have a great admiral that is super good for task force and you want to have the same admiral into the Pacific and into the Mediterranean, it's completely impossible, because if you have one task force trying to go here and the other in the other side of the area, they cannot travel back and forth. So it makes sense that the admiral controls the fleet, and the fleet has an area of operation. So you cannot pick your best admiral and use him everywhere in the world. And the area is limited by the ports that you have there, of course, and the range of the ships. This means that, for example, if you don't want to use that many submarines in all this area, you should do the following. You select one task force, you right click up there, and now we have an independent fleet. This fleet can have a new admiral, and we can order this fleet to patrol, I don't know, the Atlantic or whatever he wants, and this fleet will be completely independent from this other fleet. That is the way on how to separate fleets and make them work in different areas. Now we are going to talk a little bit about missions. The first mission is train. You shift and click here, so you're going to be spending fuel training only the units you need, but no, well, they are in the same fleet, so they are going to spend anyway, but it will stop when the unit is fully trained. Maybe it's better to split some fleets that need training and train them just a lot, so to conserve some fuel, because this is going to spend a lot of fuel. The second mission is patrol. For this role, you should use small fleets with high surface and submarine detection if you want, and I recommend you use the configuration to avoid combat. This is to avoid combat and use just minimal risk. If they find submarines and you have depth charges, they will engage, but in any other situation, will send the coordinates of the enemy task force to the fleet, to your main task force, and they will abandon the area. This is patrol. Use very small fleets that use very small amounts of fuel. The next one is the strike force. In the strike force, you should put all your heavy ships there with a nice cover. Check the previous video about how combat works. And if you are an underdog like Italy, it's recommended that you have just one task force with all your strong fleet there in an area that you can reach all the areas nearby. For example, you should put here a task force in Sicily, and this task force should work in these three oceans. In the previous video, we showed how we had a task force that was searching for enemy ships. They contacted the ships, and then the task force started to sail toward the enemy. I created two task forces, one with fast destroyers and the other one with destroyers, cruisers, and heavy ships. Next one is convoy sinking. This is for usually perfect for submarines. You should put here small groups of submarines, and maybe it's a good idea to make them avoid heavy engagement, just medium risk or lower risk, but take into consideration that it's important the depth of the sea. So putting submarines into the English Channel is a very bad idea, because the submarines have a huge risk there. The best area of operation is deep sea. So these seas are quite good for that, and the Mediterranean is kind of okay because the British don't have so many ships, and you can protect your submarines with the Italian Navy. Next one, let me click fleet. This is convoy protection. You should use here about 3 destroyers, and I also recommend that you choose the option to disengage. Light risk, so if they found submarines, they will attack, but if you encounter an enemy big fleet, they will go away and save the ships. And if you have a task force with engagement orders, strike force, the strike force will go there and attack the enemy. Next one, lay mines and collect mines. The lay mines is quite important because it makes the enemy fleets slower, and it's important in combat. Apparently in the last patch, the combat speed is not modified by the mines. I'm not sure about that, but it also gives naval supremacy. And for example, if you want to invade England, well, you have this button here, that's this icon. If you reach 100% mines, means that you're going to have 100% extra naval supremacy and makes invasions very, very easy, but works both ways. As England, you should put mines, so you are going to make 100% more difficult to invade England. That means that if you have a small fleet, like 50 ships from Germany, well, if you put 100% mines, your 50 fleets are fleet size is going to be transformed into 100 size for the naval supremacy purpose, and you can launch an invasion. If you put submarines on that role, I strongly recommend that you put them in low engagement risk or avoid contact at all. Avoid contact is this one, and this one will try to sink convoys if they find any, but I will maybe put them in this one to avoid any contact of enemy ships. They will try to escape, but of course if the sea is shallow and the enemy is using destroyers and sonar, you are in trouble. And next one is shore bombardment. Well, if you put ships in this mission and you are having land combats in the nearby province, in the coastal provinces, you are going to get a nice bonus from the ships during the land combat. What else do we have here? We have this button that means that it should drag ships from the reserve. Let me show you. You can read here 6 submarines, and you press this button means that the fleet, this task force, expect to have 6 submarines. So you can put submarines in this fleet, that is the reserve fleet. You can do that in the following way. And now these submarines are in a port in reserve, and if this fleet lost one submarine, well, one submarine will go from the here to the fleet. But I don't like that idea because it has the same problem that with the auto repair button has. This is the auto repair button. You can enable and disable, and if you enable, it will use the priority. This is high repair priority, meaning that if your ship is slightly damaged, they will go to port and repair. But that is problematic, especially for an underdog like Italy, because the ship will travel to the port and go back again, and an isolated battlecruiser is vulnerable to torpedoes, so I prefer to manual control the repair. I will talk more about that in the next video. What else do we have here? Well, this is the stances that if you modify, you are going to see instantly the change down here. Same this button, and you have another one important upgrade. You can click any ship or a couple of ships and you press the upgrade button and you will see the options. We are going to cover this into a separate video because it's quite important. Another button related to the interface is this one up here. It's the naval, and the importance of this button is that you can see the summary of losses that the enemy had. You can check this screen, all ships, all nations. Well, the war just started, because so there are no details, but there you're going to see all the ships that you sunk and that you lost. Why that screen is important? Because sometimes I have ships under repair and I think that maybe auto repair or whatever, and I think that I lost a heavy cruiser, an important battleship, and kind of worried, but then you check there and you see that you have your 6 battleships as Italy, and as long as you have those 6 battleships, you are okay. Another button is this one. If you right click and press enter, you are going to remove all the areas assigned to this fleet. So remember that the fleet has an admiral and area assign. You can assign more area right clicking. When you click a mission, you are able to select more areas. Well, if you right click there, you are going to remove all the areas at once. And that's all for the interface. Thanks for reaching here. If you enjoy, please leave a like, and hope to see you in the next video. Bye bye.